Hi, my name's Tav Chlordane, and let me tell you about 20 rugby facts that will amaze you. First one off then is, why is it called a try? A try in rugby was once worth nothing. However, it gave the player who achieved one the opportunity to try to score a goal, hence its name. Goals were scored by kicking over the crossbar and between the two posts, therefore converting the try into a goal being worth 1 point, not the 5 points that we know now. The war haka, or Peru Peru, was performed by Maori warriors before battle to intimidate enemies by demonstrating their fierceness and strength. The haka is performed by New Zealand rugby teams and teams from other Polynesian islands. The most recognisable haka for rugby fans is ka mate. Are you eligible to play for the Barbarians? Well, the only criteria a player must fulfil to receive an invitation from the Barbarians to play are that the player's rugby is of a good standard and that they behave themselves on and off the field. Yet a barbarian is a human who is perceived to be uncivilised or primitive. The 1976 Montreal Games were marred by the boycott of mostly African countries because of the IOC's refusal to ban New Zealand. The reason the countries wanted the ban was that the New Zealand Rugby Union team, the All Blacks, continued to play against South Africa, a country banned by the IOC because of its apartheid regime. In total, 28 countries felt forced into boycotting the Games. The first international rugby match took place between Scotland and England in 1871 at Raeburn Park in Edinburgh. Scotland won 1-0 by converting a try. The scorer, and therefore the first player to score an international rugby goal, was William Cross. If the modern scoring system was used, the score would have been 12-5 to Scotland, who scored 2 tries and 1 conversion. England achieved 1 try but failed to convert. The same whistle is used to kick off the opening game of every Rugby World Cup tournament. It is the Gil Evans whistle, first blown by Gil Evans, the referee overseeing a match between England and New Zealand in 1905. Also, it was used in the final rugby match of the 1924 Paris Olympics. The United States, who are that famous rugby playing nation, are the reigning Rugby Union Olympic champions. Just remember, there are 3 codes or types of rugby. There's Union, the 15-a-side game, League with 13 players, and Rugby Sevens. In the Rio 2016 Olympic Games, Fiji smashed Great Britain 43-7 to win gold in the Rugby Sevens. TMO stands for Television Match Official. It is currently used by the 2 codes of Rugby Union and Rugby League to confirm certain decisions made or missed by officials. American football grew out of the English sports such as rugby and association football, and became popular on American college campuses in the late 1800s. Have you wondered why rugby balls are oval? Oval balls are more suited to rugby than spherical balls as they are easier to catch. They're easier to hold and easier to run with, and they also don't roll as far, so don't go out of play as often. Some rugby players, if they are severely bruised from contact, are given prohibition notices by the medical advisors. A bruise is an internal bleed, and alcohol thins the blood and can actually make the bruise worse, and it will definitely take longer to heal. The Calcutta Cup is the trophy presented to the winner of the England versus Scotland Rugby Union match. When the Calcutta RFC was disbanded, the memory of the club was kept alive by having the remaining 270 silver rupees in their bank account melted down and made into a trophy. The difference between rugby and football is blatantly obvious nowadays. However, this wasn't always the case. One was originally known as rugby football, named after the public school where the sport was invented, whilst the other became known as association football. Originally, in early Olympics, football, rugby and hockey were classed as Winter Olympic sports. The wooden spoon was originally associated with the Cambridge University mathematical tripos exams and was a kind of booby prize awarded by students to their fellow student ranked lowest in the final exams. It's now used in sport, especially the Six Nations rugby tournament. FC Barcelona got their famous maroon and blue colours from a rugby team based at a school in the northwest of England. Arthur and Ernest Whitty were both students at Merchant Taylors School in Crosby, Liverpool. Their rugby team played in maroon and blue. Both went on to be heavily involved in the early years of Barcelona FC. Arthur captained the side alongside founder Joan Camper, before going on to serve as the club's president. William Webb Ellis, aged 15, invented rugby at rugby school in 1823, when he picked up the ball in a game of football and ran with it. There was an eyewitness to the event who wrote about it in the school magazine. Webb Ellis went on to become a vicar and died in 1872 without ever laying claim to being the inventor of the game. In rugby union, if a ball falls off the kicking tee, part of Rule 9 states that a player can return and put it back on, but must first ask permission from the referee. It's called the polite rule. The All Blacks have a winning record against everyone. England is the only team in the Northern Hemisphere to have won the Rugby World Cup. That's a nice way to end. Thanks very much. You've been listening to Tav Chlordane telling you some interesting rugby facts. If you've liked the video, please hit the like button, subscribe and turn on the notifications. Check out tavchlordane.com for much more sports content.